The stars stretched across the dark sky like tiny diamonds scattered on black velvet. The alien fleet moved through the void with a quiet, mechanical precision, their ships shining with cold light and long lines of energy flowing along their hulls. For weeks they had been searching a quiet region of space, a place no map had recorded, where old legends whispered of abandoned human relics. Most aliens laughed at the stories. Humans were long gone, the elders said. Their civilization had fallen centuries ago, leaving nothing but ruins on a few quiet worlds. But among the alien officers, there were whispers of curiosity. Some claimed that humans had always been clever, always surviving against impossible odds. And now, it seemed, the aliens were about to find out whether those stories were true. Ahead of the fleet floated an enormous shape, far bigger than any ship the aliens had seen in active service. Its massive form drifted silently in the dark, covered in thick armor plates that looked scratched and worn. On its surface, strange launch rails extended like the bones of a giant animal. Its design was clumsy compared to modern alien technology, which flowed with sleek curves and glowing energy. The aliens immediately began to laugh. "Primitive," said one officer, a tall, gray-skinned being with sharp eyes. "This is what they call a supercarrier. It is barely a floating fortress." Another officer, shorter and covered in pale blue scales, shook her head. "Look at those old launch bays. Do they really expect to fight anyone with those machines? I thought human technology was supposed to be extinct." The officers spoke freely, assuming that no human could hear them. But in one hidden chamber of the carrier, two humans listened quietly. Lucas Gray leaned against a console, his dark hair falling into his eyes as he watched the alien fleet through a thick viewport. Emma Clark, standing beside him, did not say a word. Her hands rested lightly on the control panels, but her eyes did not leave the stars. Lucas smiled faintly. "They really think this is a toy," he said. His voice was calm, almost amused. "They have no idea what they are looking at." Emma did not respond. She had learned long ago that the less they said, the more trouble the aliens would get themselves into. They had worked for months in silence, repairing and awakening parts of the supercarrier without drawing attention. The aliens thought they were just technicians, helping to catalog a long-forgotten relic. The ship had been drifting in this system for centuries, powered down and forgotten. Lucas and Emma had been sent with the Coalition fleet as human liaisons. The humans had been quietly observing the aliens' movements for weeks, waiting for the right moment to reveal their work. The alien fleet moved closer. Their energy sensors scanned the carrier, sending out beams that would normally detect life forms and active systems. The readings came back weak and inconsistent, as if the ship itself refused to respond. The aliens laughed again, convinced the ship was nothing more than a museum piece. "Look at this," one officer said, pointing to the massive hangar doors that had lain closed for centuries. "Even if there were humans inside, they could not launch a single fighter. This ship is dead." The aliens did not know that inside, the supercarrier was waking slowly. In hidden chambers, Lucas and Emma had already begun activating systems that the aliens had no idea existed. Power conduits hummed softly and lights flickered along the walls. Engines that had been silent for hundreds of years stirred, drawing energy from long-forgotten reactors. The ship's computers, old and mechanical by alien standards, began to calculate positions and movements in ways no alien design could predict. "Lucas," Emma whispered, "we need to keep them calm for now. Let them believe we are just cataloging a relic. If they panic too soon—" She did not finish. Both knew what would happen if the aliens discovered the carrier's true strength before the right moment. The alien ships continued their slow approach, their massive forms casting shadows across the surface of the carrier. The officers made jokes about human foolishness, mocking the old designs and calling it a floating ruin. They did not realize that every word they spoke, every laugh, only added to the humans' patience. In one observation deck, a young alien officer ran scans along the ship's exterior. "These plates are old and corroded," he said. "Even a single strike could pierce the hull. How can they call this a supercarrier?" Lucas pressed a finger to the glass. "That's exactly why it will work," he said quietly to Emma. "It is old. It is simple. The parts do not rely on fancy technology that can be hacked or disabled. Everything is mechanical, redundant, unbreakable. That is why they will never see it coming." Emma nodded, watching as tiny streaks of light began to appear on the ship's long hull. These were not weapons. They were small drones being prepared for launch, each one hidden from alien sensors. Centuries ago, humans had built these systems with one idea in mind: survival. Now, even after hundreds of years, that design philosophy still worked. The aliens began sending small boarding parties. Drones and shuttlecraft moved toward the supercarrier, scanning the hull and searching for entrances. The human technicians did nothing. They allowed the aliens to think they were in full control, guiding them with false readings and minor distractions. Hours passed. The sun of the distant star system reflected off the carrier's surface, glinting like an ancient jewel. The aliens continued their ridicule. Some wrote reports mocking the ship's old design, claiming it could not possibly launch more than a few fighters at a time. Others joked about the crew's supposed weaknesses, imagining fragile humans trapped inside. Lucas watched the officers on their own command ship through the viewport. "They really have no idea," he said. "They think everything they see tells the truth. They do not understand humans at all." Emma finally spoke. "They will find out soon enough. But we need to stay patient. Timing is everything." Below the main decks, massive engines slowly rotated into position. Ancient gyroscopes that had not moved for centuries began to spin again, and thick cables that held immense power hummed with energy. The supercarrier was not just a ship. It was a weapon, a fortress, and a monument to human ingenuity all in one. The aliens could not detect it because they were looking for the wrong things: energy signatures, smooth hulls, digital signals. They ignored the very things that would make the ship unstoppable. On the bridge of the carrier, Lucas moved to a small control panel and pressed a series of buttons. Tiny lights flickered along the massive hull, opening hidden ports and moving mechanical launch rails into readiness. The ship was nearly silent, but every movement was precise and calculated. Emma checked the readings, nodding quietly to herself. Everything was functioning exactly as it had been planned. The aliens continued to mock, but Lucas and Emma shared a quiet smile. They did not need to speak loudly or fight yet. The greatest advantage humans had was the element of surprise. After centuries of being underestimated, they had learned that nothing made an enemy more vulnerable than their own arrogance. The sun dipped behind the distant planets, casting long shadows across the carrier's surface. The alien fleet gathered closer, their curiosity slowly turning into overconfidence. They sent more scans, more shuttles, more messages filled with condescension. Yet inside, the humans worked calmly, activating systems, checking circuits, and preparing for the moment when they would reveal what had been hidden for so long. Even in their calm, Lucas could feel the old memories stirring. He had trained for years for this moment, knowing that one day humans would be seen as weak and primitive by aliens who had no understanding of true resilience. Emma, too, felt the familiar thrill. There was a quiet pride in knowing that every bolt, every system, every design had been made not to impress, but to endure. And now, that endurance was about to be shown to the galaxy. As night fully fell over the distant star system, small lights flickered along the supercarrier. They were invisible to the aliens, who had stopped laughing and now looked with curiosity. Lucas leaned against the console and whispered, "Tomorrow they will learn what humans really built. Tomorrow they will see that we are not as simple as they believe." Emma nodded, her eyes fixed on the stars. "Let them think this is a relic for now. When the time comes, there will be no place in the galaxy where they can hide." The carrier drifted in silence, its massive form slowly awakening. It was not beautiful by alien standards. It was not sleek or shiny, but it was strong. It was clever. It was human. And soon, the galaxy would remember humans again. The alien fleet had gathered around the supercarrier like sharks circling prey. Their massive ships glowed with energy fields and pulsating lights, weapons ready to fire at the first sign of resistance. The officers were full of confidence now, convinced the humans inside were powerless. They had sent their small boarding shuttles, and some drones were scanning the surface for hidden entrances. To the aliens, the ship looked like nothing more than a drifting relic, a museum piece too old to matter. Inside the carrier, Lucas Gray moved through the corridors with careful steps. The hum of the engines filled the ship, a deep and steady sound that the aliens could not detect. He stopped at a large mechanical console and began checking the status of the internal systems. Lights flickered, fans whirred, and panels slid into place, preparing for what was coming. Emma Clark joined him. She held a tablet showing the positions of the alien ships outside. "They are moving closer," she said softly. "They are getting ready to board. I can feel it." Lucas nodded. "Good. That means our timing is right. Let them come. They think they are in control, but they are walking into a trap they cannot see." The aliens sent their first wave of boarding shuttles toward the supercarrier. The small crafts hovered near the huge hangar doors, scanning and trying to detect life inside. Inside the ship, hidden sensors that had been asleep for centuries activated. Small alarms flashed for Lucas and Emma, but they barely looked at them. They had prepared for this moment for months, checking each system and making sure nothing would fail. On the alien flagship, the gray-skinned officer who had mocked the supercarrier smiled. "See? No activity. The humans are dead. This ship is useless. We can take it apart without trouble." Another officer, the pale blue-scaled female, laughed. "We will have a museum piece to show the fleet. Nothing more. The humans cannot even fight back now. They are gone as they should be." Lucas pressed a series of buttons. Deep within the hull, massive mechanical doors opened, unseen by alien sensors. Launch bays extended, and hundreds of small fighter craft moved into position. They were old designs, simple and sturdy, but perfectly made for war. The aliens had never seen such ships before. They were not fast or sleek, but they were hard to destroy, and they could strike in numbers that the aliens did not expect. The first warning came as a quiet vibration in space. An alien cruiser, far larger than any shuttle, drifted toward the carrier. It had ignored all caution, believing the ship could not fight. Then, without warning, the simple human fighters launched from the carrier. They moved in strange, unpredictable patterns, weaving between enemy ships. Their weapons fired with loud, solid bursts that tore through shields and armor alike. On the alien cruiser, alarms screamed. Officers rushed to consoles, their eyes wide with shock. "What is happening?" one shouted. "Our shields, they are failing. How is this possible?" Another officer tried to send a message. "Return fire, destroy those primitive ships." But the human fighters had already moved beyond targeting range. They were not fast in the usual sense, but their numbers and coordination were perfect. The cruiser shook as multiple projectiles struck at the same time, tearing holes through its hull. Explosions lit the void as it began to drift out of formation, crippled and burning. Inside the supercarrier, Lucas watched the displays. "They do not understand kinetic attacks," he said calmly. "They depend on energy shields and fast weapons. These old designs ignore that. They cannot hit what they cannot track." Emma nodded. "Keep your eyes on the drones. The aliens will try something else soon." The alien fleet realized their first mistake too late. They had underestimated the humans. Their ships had been powerful, advanced, and filled with weapons that could destroy planets. But they had never faced tactics like these, from machines designed long ago by humans who had known that survival often meant being clever, not flashy. On the flagship, the gray-skinned officer roared in frustration. "This cannot be. How can these primitive ships destroy my cruiser? Call all units, focus fire on the carrier." But it was too late. The human fighters moved in swarms, simple but unstoppable. They struck at engines, weapons, and command modules, disabling one ship after another. The aliens were confused, unable to understand why these ships worked. Their energy weapons could not penetrate the thick armor of the human fighters, and every missile fired at the carrier itself was intercepted by small, agile interceptors. Lucas and Emma moved quickly through the control decks, activating more launch bays and checking the positions of the human fighters. "Keep them busy," Lucas said. "Let them focus on our small ships. We still have the big guns ready." In the corridors of the supercarrier, the sound of engines and hydraulic systems filled the air. Ancient doors that had not moved in centuries opened to reveal hidden weapons bays. Massive cannons, powered by old but effective energy systems, moved into position. The aliens did not even know these weapons existed. On the alien ships, panic began to spread. Their perfectly trained fleets were being destroyed by what they called primitive weapons. Officers shouted orders, trying to regroup, but it was impossible. The human ships attacked in ways the aliens could not predict. Some fighters launched directly at shields, others circled behind cruisers, striking weak points that the aliens did not even know existed. The supercarrier itself moved slowly, almost imperceptibly, its massive engines stirring. Lucas had activated manual controls. He did not need to move the ship fast. The alien weapons could not track it because they relied on speed and energy signatures. The carrier was heavy, simple, and completely solid. Every shot that hit it bounced off or caused nothing more than a vibration. "Look at them panic," Emma said quietly. "They thought we were helpless. Now they are learning the truth." Lucas smiled faintly. "They will not forget this, not ever." In space, the battle grew worse for the aliens. Another cruiser exploded in a flash of fire and metal, spinning into nothingness. The fleet tried to retreat, but the humans anticipated it. Hidden tracking systems within the supercarrier guided the fighters, cutting off escape routes. Every alien ship that tried to flee was intercepted by a swarm of mechanical craft that moved like swarms of bees, relentless and unstoppable. On the bridge of the supercarrier, Lucas pressed another series of buttons. More systems came online, ones that had been silent for centuries. These were the main weapons of the ship itself, massive cannons and launchers that the aliens could not even detect from outside. The hum of power filled the ship, and the viewports showed alien vessels trembling as energy built along the giant barrels. Emma watched the readings. "They are breaking apart faster than expected. Their morale is collapsing." Lucas nodded. "Good. Let them learn what humans can do when they are underestimated." The alien flagship tried one last desperate maneuver, sending its energy beams directly at the carrier. The weapons fired with bright, blinding light, hoping to hit the ancient ship before it could respond. But the carrier moved slightly, almost imperceptibly, and its shields, simple but strong, absorbed the attacks. The beams scattered harmlessly, unable to penetrate centuries-old engineering designed for durability and redundancy. "Impossible!" shouted the gray-skinned officer. "We are superior in every way. How can this ship survive?" Lucas and Emma exchanged a glance. "They think complexity equals strength," Lucas said quietly. "We will show them that simplicity and preparation are stronger than arrogance." The battle continued for hours. The aliens kept firing, sending wave after wave of fighters and energy beams. But the humans had prepared for everything. The carrier's internal systems distributed power, redirected shields, and launched drones at perfect intervals. Each attack was met with a precise counter, each assault blocked or destroyed before it could do serious harm. The alien fleet began to retreat in small groups. Their confidence had turned into fear. Officers argued and blamed each other, unsure how to respond to a force they did not understand. The humans had not even revealed the full strength of the carrier yet. Inside the supercarrier, Lucas and Emma walked through the control decks, checking the ship's systems and planning the next move. They had fought only the first wave, and it had been enough to show the aliens that humans were not extinct. That the legends of human ingenuity were true, Emma looked at Lucas. "This is only the beginning. Soon they will learn that humans never give up and that they never stop planning." Lucas smiled. "Let them think this is luck for now. Tomorrow they will see it as skill, patience, and preparation, and there will be no mercy." The alien fleet disappeared slowly into the distance, their remaining ships damaged, confused, and afraid. The supercarrier floated silently in space, its massive form still ancient and worn, but fully alive and ready. Lucas and Emma looked out at the stars, knowing that the galaxy had just begun to learn a lesson it would never forget. The first battle was over. The humans had shown their strength without revealing all their power. They had used simplicity, preparation, and cleverness to outmatch a fleet that thought it was invincible. And the galaxy would soon understand that humans, even when thought to be extinct, were not only alive but still capable of greatness beyond imagination. The alien fleet had barely recovered from the first wave of attacks when the humans made their next move. Lucas Gray stood on the bridge of the supercarrier, watching the stars and the scattered alien ships drifting in the system. Each one that had survived the initial attack was damaged, its hull scarred, its energy shields flickering weakly. The aliens had assumed that humans were extinct, that the supercarrier was a harmless relic. Now they were beginning to understand how wrong they had been. Emma Clark moved beside him, her eyes scanning the readouts. "They are trying to regroup," she said. "Some of them are retreating, but others are gathering near the outer edge of the system. They still think they have a chance." Lucas nodded. "Let them think that for a moment. They need to feel confident one last time before we show them everything." The humans had planned this carefully. The first attacks had been enough to test the alien fleet and weaken their confidence, but they had held back the full power of the supercarrier. Now it was time to reveal the true strength of human engineering. Lucas activated a series of controls, and the ship responded with a low hum that seemed to vibrate through the corridors. Lights along the massive hull flickered as hidden systems awoke, systems that had not been used for centuries. Deep in the bowels of the ship, massive mechanical doors slid open, revealing rows of long-forgotten weapons. These were not small fighters or simple cannons. These were heavy, mechanical siege weapons designed to punch through the toughest defenses. Each barrel was polished and maintained with centuries of care, ready to fire with deadly precision. The aliens had no idea these weapons existed. On the alien flagship, the gray-skinned officer noticed something strange. "Sensors, they are picking up energy readings that were not there before," he said. "What is happening? Are the humans activating more ships?" But it was not just the readings. Slowly, the supercarrier began to move. Its massive engines, long silent, stirred to life, pushing the ship forward with surprising speed for its size. The aliens had expected it to drift, helpless like a broken relic. Instead, it advanced with calculated intent, its movements precise and controlled. Lucas watched the fleet through the viewport. "Now they see we are not just machines," he said quietly. "We are humans. We planned, we built, and we endure. This is what they never expected." Emma tapped her tablet. Hundreds of small craft, hidden within the carrier, launched in perfect coordination. They did not fly like alien fighters, which relied on flashy maneuvers and energy weapons. These ships were simple, strong, and numerous. They struck from angles the aliens could not predict, weaving between enemy ships and delivering precise attacks that disabled engines, weapons, and shields. The alien fleet panicked. Officers shouted orders, trying to regroup, but every move they made was anticipated. The human fighters moved as if they were connected by a single mind, striking where the enemy was weakest and avoiding where they were strongest. It was a level of coordination the aliens could not understand. Then Lucas did something that shook the fleet even further. He activated the supercarrier's main weapons. Massive cannons powered by centuries-old energy cores came online. They glowed with a deep blue light, silent but deadly. The aliens had sensors that could detect energy, but these weapons were designed to minimize their signature until they fired. The first shot hit an alien cruiser with devastating force. The ship did not just take damage, it was obliterated, torn apart by kinetic energy that even the most advanced shields could not absorb. Alien crews screamed in disbelief. "This cannot be! They are destroying our ships with what?" Emma pressed another series of buttons and another volley of cannons fired. The blasts were precise, cutting through multiple enemy ships at once. The alien fleet scattered in chaos, trying to avoid the attacks, but the humans anticipated every move. Drones deployed from the carrier's hidden bays intercepted missiles and beam weapons, neutralizing every threat before it could reach the ship. On the bridge, Lucas and Emma moved calmly among the panels, guiding the battle with quiet confidence. "They underestimated us," Lucas said. "They thought we were extinct, weak, and helpless. They thought the supercarrier was a relic. Now they know the truth," Emma nodded. "And they still do not know everything, not yet." Far above the battlefield, a cryosleep chamber opened deep within the supercarrier. Nathan Cole, the carrier's original commander, stirred from his centuries-long sleep. His eyes opened to the sight of stars and the distant flashes of battle. He was older than any human had a right to be, but his mind was sharp, trained in tactics that even the aliens could not match. He rose slowly, understanding immediately the situation outside. Lucas approached him. "Sir," he said, "we have weakened the enemy. Now it is time to finish this. Are you ready?" Nathan nodded, his voice steady. "Show them what humans can do. They need to see our strength, our planning, and our endurance. They need to understand that we do not fight for show, we fight to survive and to protect what is ours." The supercarrier's massive engines pushed it forward even faster now. Its sheer size and durability made it nearly impossible to hit with energy weapons. Alien fire bounced off the hull, harmlessly dissipating. Meanwhile, the human fighters continued to attack in swarms, preventing any enemy ship from escaping or regrouping. The aliens tried everything they could think of. They sent wave after wave of fighters, they targeted the carrier with energy beams, and they tried to board it using shuttles. But every attempt failed. The humans had prepared for centuries for situations like this. Every weapon, every system, every trap was ready. And every time the aliens attacked, the humans were one step ahead. Lucas watched as the aliens began to retreat in disarray. Their ships were damaged, some barely holding together, and morale had collapsed. Officers shouted at each other, blaming mistakes that had been caused by their own arrogance. The humans had proven that being underestimated could be fatal. Emma smiled slightly. They will not make that mistake again. They thought they could control us. They thought they could treat us like fossils. Now they know humans are still here and we are stronger than they imagined. Nathan stepped onto the bridge, fully awake now. His eyes scanned the battlefield. Lucas, Emma, guide the fighters and the carrier. Target the leaders first. We will break their command structure and force them to flee. After that, we can decide what to do next. Lucas nodded. Understood, sir. Everyone follow the plan. The enemy's arrogance will be their undoing. The next phase of the battle began. Human fighters and the carrier worked together in perfect coordination. Targets were prioritized with skill and precision. Alien command ships were destroyed one by one, leaving the remaining fleet directionless. Some ships tried to flee, but the humans had anticipated escape routes. They struck at every angle, leaving no safe path. The aliens screamed orders, but no command could reach those who were being destroyed. The human attacks were too fast, too coordinated, and too clever. Every weapon they had hidden for centuries was now active, and the aliens were overwhelmed. Through it all, Lucas and Emma moved calmly. They were not heroes seeking glory. They were humans executing centuries of planning, showing the galaxy that arrogance and underestimation could be fatal mistakes. Finally, the alien flagship itself came into view. The gray-skinned officer who had mocked the Supercarrier at the start watched in horror as his ship was surrounded by human fighters. He sent desperate messages, but they were too late. The carrier's massive cannons fired, tearing through shields and armor alike. The flagship shuddered and began to break apart under the assault. On the bridge, Nathan Cole watched with a steady hand. "This is the result of centuries of preparation," he said. "This is human engineering, human endurance, and human intelligence at work. Let them see what they underestimated for so long." The aliens tried one final attack, sending everything they had at the Supercarrier at once. But the humans had prepared for this. Drones intercepted missiles, fighters blocked beams, and the carrier itself moved in ways that minimized damage. The aliens' final push failed completely. Their fleet lay in ruins, scattered and broken across the system. Lucas looked out at the stars. "They thought they were superior," he said. "They thought we were extinct. Now they will remember us. They will never forget that humans can endure, can plan, and can fight back stronger than anyone imagined." Emma placed a hand on his shoulder. "It is not just about showing them strength. It is about showing that humans survive, that we endure, and that we will rise again no matter how long it takes." Nathan Cole nodded. "This is only the beginning. The galaxy has learned a lesson today, but our work is not done. We will make sure that humans are never underestimated again." The Supercarrier floated in silence, its massive form glowing faintly from the energy of its recently activated systems. It was still old and worn, but now it was fully alive and fully dangerous. The alien fleet had learned a harsh lesson about arrogance, and the humans had shown their true power without revealing everything. Lucas and Emma watched the stars together, knowing that the galaxy had changed in a single battle. They had shown that humans, even after centuries, were still clever, still strong, and still capable of incredible feats. And they had done it not with flashy technology, but with careful planning, endurance, and the strength of simple, effective design. The battle was over, but the humans had only begun to reveal their full potential. The galaxy would soon understand that humans were not just survivors. They were a force to be reckoned with, capable of turning what the universe thought was weakness into unstoppable strength. The alien fleet had scattered. The few ships that remained floated in space, damaged and silent, their crews shaken and afraid. The arrogance that had driven them to mock the Supercarrier had been shattered. Now, for the first time, the aliens truly understood what it meant to underestimate humans. Lucas Gray stood on the bridge of the Supercarrier, looking out at the stars. The battle was over, but the ship remained fully intact, massive and unbroken. Its armor plates bore scratches and scorch marks, but none of them threatened its strength. The centuries-old machines and weapons had performed exactly as planned. Every system that the aliens had thought useless had proven itself vital. Emma Clark walked beside him, her tablet showing the status of the carrier and the scattered alien ships. "They are retreating," she said softly. "Some of them are trying to escape, but most are too damaged to move quickly. They will regroup, but they will not forget this." Lucas nodded. "Let them go. There is no need to destroy what they cannot repair. They need to remember the lesson, not die for arrogance." Nathan Cole, the Supercarrier's commander, entered the bridge fully awake now, his long years in cryosleep leaving him alert and ready. He looked at the alien fleet through the viewport. "We do not need to hunt them," he said calmly. "They will carry the memory of this defeat. Their fleet is broken, their confidence shattered. That is enough. Let them live to tell the story." Lucas and Emma exchanged glances. They had been trained for this moment, waiting for centuries for the day when humans would be seen again. "It is strange," Lucas said quietly. "After centuries, we finally have the chance to show the galaxy who we really are, and yet it feels like it is only the beginning." Nathan nodded. "It is always only the beginning. The universe does not stop challenging those who endure, but today, humans have made a statement. Today, the galaxy has learned to respect what it thought was gone." Below the bridge, the carrier's crew moved through the corridors, checking systems and performing repairs. Humans and automated machines worked together, fixing minor damage and preparing the ship for its next move. The ancient engines thrummed softly, ready to take the supercarrier wherever it was needed. Emma walked along one of the main corridors, observing the workers. Even after centuries, the ship ran efficiently. Every mechanism had been designed to endure time, to survive neglect, and to remain effective when needed. It was more than a machine. It was a testament to human ingenuity and patience. Lucas joined her. "The aliens will remember us now," he said. "They will no longer treat humans as primitive or extinct, and that is exactly what we wanted." Emma nodded. "But they will also fear us. They fear what they do not understand, and we have shown them something they cannot easily forget. That fear will buy us time, and that time is valuable." Nathan Cole's voice came over the intercom, calm but firm. "Prepare a message for the galaxy. Let it be known that humans are alive, that we endure, and that we are not to be underestimated. Do not demand tribute, do not claim victory for ourselves. Let our presence speak for itself." Lucas and Emma worked together, composing a simple but powerful transmission. It spoke of human survival, human strength, and human ingenuity. It did not boast of victory, but it made clear that any who dismissed humans would do so at their own peril. Meanwhile, scattered alien ships were sending weak signals, calling for aid and reporting the devastating results of the battle. Their officers had learned that they had misjudged humans completely. Some whispered that humans were not just clever. They were relentless, capable of planning centuries ahead and creating machines that endured far beyond their own lifetimes. Back on the supercarrier, Lucas and Emma stood at the observation deck, watching the stars. The battle had shown them that humans, even thought extinct, could return stronger than anyone imagined. "Do you think they will ever stop underestimating us?" Lucas asked quietly. Emma shook her head. "No, but that is part of our advantage. They always think we are gone, weak, or simple, and that is when we are at our strongest. History has taught humans to endure, to prepare, and to rise when least expected." Nathan Cole entered the observation deck. "We have made our point," he said. "The galaxy has learned to respect humans. Now we must ensure that humans continue to endure, that our knowledge and our strength remain protected. The universe is vast and full of dangers, but we have proven that humans are not helpless. We are still a force to be reckoned with." Lucas and Emma nodded, understanding the weight of his words. They had shown the galaxy that humans survived, but survival was only the first step. They had to ensure that humans were remembered, that their achievements were respected, and that their legacy endured. The supercarrier prepared to leave the system. Its engines glowed softly, and the massive ship moved with a quiet confidence, leaving behind the scattered alien fleet. The aliens would tell stories of this day, warning others not to underestimate humans. Their arrogance had been destroyed, replaced with fear and respect. As the supercarrier drifted toward the stars, Lucas turned to Emma. "We have done more than survive," he said. "We have reminded the universe that humans endure. That is stronger than any weapon." Emma smiled. "And there will be more battles ahead. But for now, the galaxy knows the truth. Humans are not gone, humans are still here, and we are still capable of greatness. Nathan Cole looked out at the stars, his expression calm but resolute. We must continue to prepare, he said. Humans have survived long before, and we will survive long after this battle. But the galaxy will not wait for us to rise again. We must rise on our own terms and show the universe that humans are clever, strong, and resilient. The humans continued their journey through the system, moving silently but with purpose. The Supercarrier's engines thrummed like a heartbeat, a reminder that this ancient machine was still alive, still powerful, and still human. Every system had been tested, every weapon had proven itself, and every human aboard had contributed to the demonstration of their species' enduring strength. The aliens would rebuild their fleet, they would repair their ships, and they would tell others about the humans who had returned. But they would never forget the lesson they had learned. Never underestimate a human, no matter how old or simple their machines appeared. Inside the Supercarrier, Lucas and Emma walked along the corridors once more. The quiet hum of machinery filled the air, a reminder that this ship had been built to last, to endure, and to fight when needed. We are not done, Lucas said. The galaxy will continue to test us, but we are ready. Humans are always ready, Emma nodded. And we will continue to endure just as our ancestors did. We will survive, we will fight, and we will rise whenever the universe thinks we are gone. Nathan Cole entered the control room, looking at the humans who had fought and guided the carrier to victory. This is the future of humanity, he said. We have shown the galaxy that we endure. We have shown that we are clever, strong, and unbroken. And we will continue to show this as long as we exist. The Supercarrier moved steadily through the stars, leaving behind the wreckage of the alien fleet. Its systems hummed, its weapons rested, and its crew worked quietly to ensure that the ship remained ready for anything the galaxy might send their way. Lucas and Emma returned to the observation deck, watching the lights of distant stars. We have done more than win a battle, Lucas said. We have reminded the universe that humans are not to be ignored. That is worth more than any weapon, Emma nodded. And the galaxy will remember. The humans who survived, who endured, and who rose again will be respected. That respect is more important than fear, more important than victory. It is the foundation of everything we build next. Nathan Cole stood beside them. Humans endure, he said. That is our greatest strength. Machines, ships, and weapons are only tools. The strength of humans lies in their minds, their will, and their ability to survive. Today, the universe has seen that strength, and it will never be underestimated again. The stars stretched on, endless and bright, as the Supercarrier moved steadily forward. It was a relic of the past, yes, but alive, powerful, and fully human. Its journey had only just begun, and the galaxy would learn to respect humans from this day forward. Lucas Gray, Emma Clark, and Nathan Cole stood together, looking out at the universe. They had shown that humans endure. They had shown that humans are clever, resilient, and strong. And they had shown that no one, no matter how powerful, should ever underestimate humanity. The Supercarrier glided through the stars, ancient yet alive, a symbol of endurance, cleverness, and human strength. And somewhere in the galaxy, the aliens would whisper of the humans who returned, who fought, and who proved that even the oldest, simplest creations could still change the course of history. The galaxy had learned its lesson, and humans had earned their place among the stars once more. They ridiculed the primitive Supercarrier until its human creators emerged.